Obviously, when I watched the predicted lineups of Giovanni Albanese yesterday night, I was like all of you. Thiago, what are you doing? Thiago, are you serious? Thiago, what are you thinking? Do you know, are you aware that we are playing the Derby d'Italia, that is well known as being the most important game of Serie A? I was about to go live or to record a video yesterday at midnight judging that lineup. That is incredible because where is Yildiz? Are we sure to continue to play with Savona, Danilo in the back, the one that didn't do well against Stuttgart? Then I said, Beppe, wait, because usually you never judge the lineups that are predicted. First of all, because you are not even sure that these are the lineups. One. Secondly, because you're used to comment them after the game. For example, the one that Thiago Motta has put against Stuttgart was totally wrong. And we said it. But before the game, you give trust, or at least you give opinions. Is he right? Is he wrong? Do we think that is right or wrong? So I said, calma, Beppe. Let's try to understand what is in the mind of Thiago Motta. What is the plan of Thiago Motta? Today, now, it's impossible to say if he's correct or if he's wrong. But at least let's try to understand it. And that's what we'll speak about in today's video. Ciao Juventini of the world. My name is Giuseppe. Welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. We start immediately with a maximum of like. And if you want, write in the comment section, Forza Juve, Forza Juve, Forza Juve, because today we need a lot of support from all of you. Now that you did the basics, like, subscription to the channel, and the comments, well, let's speak about Inter-Juve, il Derby d'Italia. It's a total different one, huh? Because 5 years ago, the situation was totally reversed. Juventus was older in terms of team than Inter. Juventus had a value of team, a total team, higher than Inter, and we were paying a salary mass that was higher than the one of the Nerazzurri. 5 years later, everything changed. We are the second youngest team of Serie A. Inter is the oldest team of Serie A. 593, that's the million that our team is valued. More than 100 million or nearly 100 million more the one of Inter, and they are paying more salaries than we. So it's a total different one. It's an Inter that in the meanwhile won 2 Scudetti while Juventus won 0. So on paper, if you're looking at the team of Inter, if you're looking at all the parameters, Inter is obliged to win. Inter is favorite. They are even playing in their home. But you know it, a game is a game. A game is a game and everything can happen. And you need to write history. How do you write history? Winning today. You know, today I was reading an article where David Trezeguet spoke about Dusan Vlahovic, and he said Dusan has quality, and I think that we are all agreeing with that. Dusan has quality, but if you really want to enter the history of Juve, if you really want to write history of Juve, you need to score. You really need to score. And today I'm expecting from Dusan Vlahovic that he's doing something that he didn't do before, scoring the San Siro. In the 7 seasons that he's in Italy, Fiorentina and Juve, he never scored. Not against Milan, not against Inter, in that stadium. Today, I think, and I believe it's a good night to do it. But it's not only Dusan that needs to do something that he never did. It's also Juve, the young players that we have in our team. They need something to do something important. Because if they win today, part of the history can be written. If they don't, it's not a beautiful page that we will write. So today we are expecting a Juventus that is aware of what we are doing. And if in the intro of the video I told you, does he know that it's the Derby d'Italia? It's the most important game. I remind myself that Thiago Motta not only as a coach already beat twice Inter and Simone Inzaghi in 4 games, 2 wins, 1 draw. But on top of that, he played 3 seasons at Inter, 2 or 3 seasons. He knows what it is. Juve, Inter, Inter, Juve. So on that one, I totally trust that he's aware of it. And the players that we have in our team, they know that we are playing the Derby d'Italia. One thing is sure, the one that will win today, if there is a winner today, it will become the anti-Conte or the anti-Napoli. We will know it at 8 p.m. when we will do the post-game. Before that, of course, pre-game and watch-along here on the channel. Because we know it. Antonio Conte yesterday with his team, they won 1-0. Was it a spectacular game? No. Was it a beautiful game? No. Did they destroy Lecce? No. But they won 1-0. And at the moment in the ranking of Serie A, they are there on top. At the moment in the ranking of Serie A, they have 6 points more than Juve. So we can't let them just go. And Inter is thinking exactly the same. In the meanwhile, Antonio is waiting and watching the Derby d'Italia, because he will watch it. It's already confirmed yesterday. What about the squad list? Because now we'll enter who will play and how will play and what is the idea of Thiago Motta. The squad list says there are no surprises. Koopmeiners not there. Douglas Luiz not there. Nico Gonzalez not there, Bremer not there, Milik not there, so we know it. And we have a lot of players that are out from Juve side. Yesterday we didn't see Pinsoglio with the two other goalkeepers, not even Daffara, but it is because his baby is born, so he was one day off, and then today he already joined the team in Milano, so he's there. No surprises there. Of course, it's true that when you were looking at the midfield, only 4 names there. We are really short in players in the midfield, especially because we know that 3 of them they will play. So we have, if we are speaking about midfielders, only one possible change. It is a big duel. It is a big duel, a beast duel. Derby d'Italia to win. This is what Gazzetta dello Sport is telling us. To not be too far from it. Inter is going with Zielinski, while Juventus is going all in for Dusan Vlahovic, because in front they will have Thuram and Lautaro. We know it, how lethal they are, especially in these counter-attacks will come back on them. This morning, Tuttosport, they gave us a lineup that we were all hoping or thinking about. Di Gregorio with a Cambiaso on the right side, Cabal on the left, and Kenan Yildiz there on the field on the left with Fagioli as a number 10. But since yesterday, we know it. That lineup came out. A lineup with a big surprise. No Kenan Yildiz. Surprise of Thiago Motta. He's going with the double wingers, fullbacks and high offensive wingers that will be there in a kind of 4-2-3-1 that can change. So what is the predicted lineup? Di Gregorio into the goal, Savona on the right, Kalulu center back on the right, left center back Danilo, Cambiaso on the left side of the field, Conceição on top of the right, Weah on top of the left. In the middle, Locatelli, McKennie and Fagioli a bit more advanced with Dusan Vlahovic on top. Is it really a surprise? Well, in some names, yes, of course, because I'm thinking immediately on that partnership Savona-Conceição that had a lot of difficulties. Do you remember against Mittelstadt, something that we said? Mittelstadt is one that is going a lot up front, and if you play with Conceição and Savona and they are not able to block him super high on the field, he will come. And that's where we suffered a lot. We made the debrief. A lot of people watched the debrief I made of the game. Looks like Thiago Motta, if this is the real predicted lineup, is committing exactly the same. Against a Di Marco that can we compare in way of playing, at least in terms of position in the field when they are attacking super high on the field, it's a bit the same. So will we see exactly the same thing and the same mistakes from Thiago Motta that we did against Stuttgart? If I see the names, could be. Then of course, let's see if really it will be like that, or if Conceição will go on the left with Weah on the right, which I was asking since now a week for that particular game, not for the entirety of Serie A. It's better to precise. So that's the first thing. Then, of course, not seeing Gatti, but seeing Danilo there, a lot of question, because Danilo didn't do really well. He played 10 minutes against Stuttgart, and then he totally collapsed. And more the minutes were going, more it was really difficult to see Danilo there. Why is he not playing Gatti? The only thing that comes in mind now, of course, when I'm thinking about that lineup is Danilo is, in a way, better in carrying the ball, one. But secondly, probably is because since the birth of the little girl of Gatti, we don't see him anymore with regularity as a starter. Is it because he's a bit more tired? Is it because the night he's not sleeping? These are things in private life, guys, that are really influencing. I know that a lot of young guys and girls are watching the channel. I have a son, he's 16 now, so it's really long time ago that he was a kid. But I remember that the nights you don't sleep that much. You are not in the morning when you wake up in a super strong energy. Could be that that's one of the reasons that we don't know, and that's why Danilo is playing, because honestly there is not a lot of choices. Bremer is not there, guys. So that could be one of the reasons why we have a Danilo instead of a Gatti. Right or wrong? Again, we will only know after the game. Other things are not a surprise for me, like Weston McKennie, because if you are looking at the important games that we play this season against strong teams, or at least teams that are there also to play, like the 3 games of Champions League and the one against Napoli, we saw that the 4 games, Weston McKennie was a starter against PSV, Leipzig, Stuttgart, but also against Napoli. Fagioli played 2 of them. Koopmeiners played 3 of them. Of course, unfortunately, he was injured against Stuttgart. That's why he didn't play, otherwise he would have played. Thuram was there one time on 4. And normally he should not even have played because it was Douglas Luiz. So from the 4 midfielders that we have, if we know that in the important games, at today, Thuram is never playing, well, it's not a surprise that we start with Fagioli, Locatelli, McKennie. It's a surprise if you are thinking about Mercato, because of course the big game against Inter, we would have loved to see Thuram, Douglas Luiz and Koopmeiners, and the 3 of them, they are out for the game against Inter. So it's a surprise until a certain point when we are analyzing that lineup. What do we need to pay attention for Inter before going towards the plan of Thiago Motta? Well, of course, it's Barella. Barella as a play, even if Zielinski will play there, but Barella, he grew a lot in terms of building, something that he didn't have a few seasons ago. Well, he built that also. He can also change that position with Zielinski, building the game, so pay attention when Barella will carry the ball because he has that beautiful vision of play. When they will press, because at a certain moment there will be a pressing from Inter, especially when we saw the last game against Stuttgart. I'm sure that Simone Inzaghi will work on it as well. Well, we will need to be much more clean than the last time, because in the last game of Champions League, we were absolutely awful when we were building from the back. So we need to find new solutions there and being much more accurate. Inter is an experienced team. It's playing with that system since a few seasons now, already with Antonio Conte, then with some improvements from Simone Inzaghi, but they perfectly know. They are perfectly structured, so pay attention to them. They built with 4 or 5, if you are counting the goalkeeper, Sommer as well. So pay attention to these kind of things of Inter, and especially probably the most dangerous thing, the counter-attack, the positive transition from Inter. Because I saw a lot of games of Inter this season, last season, the season before. It's a team that they can even stay low, waiting for the game, not even doing the game, but from the moment that they have that ball, Lautaro and Thuram, Marcus, they go extremely fast. So pay attention to this one. So what is the plan of Thiago Motta when he's playing with these men? It's this one. Starting with a 4-2-3-1 on paper, but Cambiaso said it, Thiago Motta said it, a lot of players are saying it. What we see on the paper doesn't mean that we will play like that, because you have the possession phase, you have the non-possession. So in possession phase, I think that you will really see Nicolo Fagioli that will drop down, with a Cambiaso and Savona that will slightly go up to put some pressure there, where Conceição dropping a bit to be super compact and to have a lot of support there in non-possession, having a solid structured midfield, and the wingers that are doing their job. Of course, in non-possession, Dusan Vlahovic will be extremely isolated. But when we have that ball, when we recuperate it, I think that will be extremely super decisive in the game. Doing super fast the job in going in that transition towards that 3-4-3, with McKennie going wider, with Cambiaso going more up, but staying there in that corridor, Fagioli and Locatelli staying in the middle, and then playing with 3 up front, where Conceição and Dusan Vlahovic, to give a bit more support to Dusan and not letting him be super isolated when we have the ball. Why this 3-4-3 in possession? Because I just said it. In the positive transition, if we lose the ball there, well, we need to pay attention, because Inter, they are going extremely fast with their 2 strikers. And that's why a Locatelli, Fagioli, a Cambiaso, or Weston McKennie, they need to filter. They need to block before they arrive in Savona, Kalulu, and Danilo zone. So that's, I believe, the plan of Thiago Motta to start with, from a 4-5-1 towards a 3-4-2-1. Position of the transition, positive, negative, pay attention to the counter-attack, playing with these men. Again, McKennie is not a surprise, you know it, how versatile he is. Cambiaso, super versatile, starting from the left, and also he can do that position with Wea remaining extremely wide if we are in possession, with Cambiaso that is entering. He will run a lot. And then, of course, you have that second half where you have players on the bench that can change the game, a la Adzic, but especially a la Yildiz. These players can enter, give something different to the second half. Like, for example, we saw yesterday, Real Madrid against Barcelona, when you see a second half where you have a Frenkie de Jong, you have a Dani Olmo that are entering in, or changing totally the story of that game. Let's see what we can do. I'm not expecting it 0-4, but you never know. Football is football, and that's why we love it. We see each other for a pre-game and watch along here on the channel. Grazie, forza, Juve.